More Heart Than Talent Radio.
Jeffery Combs, president and founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated, dialing in here, moving this call to a different office for the first time in the last 2 years. Let me get all dialed in here. Welcome to Facebook Live, the first Tuesday, May 2020. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Linda, welcome to the Facebook Live. This beautiful sunny Sunday afternoon in May. Amy, good to see you. Wojo, good to see you. Deb Lucas, Matt Smith, Amy Gilbert, good to see you. Amy, every time I watch Blue Bloods, I think of you and Tom. Alicia, good to see you. Alicia, where are you today? Jay Johns, good to see you. Matt Smith, good afternoon, everyone. Deb Lucas, good to see you. Facebook Live this afternoon, More Heart Than Talent. I have moved this Facebook Live from upstairs downstairs. So what you're seeing is a panoramic view of this is my office where I coach my clients. Typically I have a studio that I do this, but I've decided to move down here for a little breath of fresh air. So you're looking at a 100-year-old home with the rounded doors in the back here in Northern California. Topic for today's call is connecting with purpose. So you receive an email that I send out that looks like this, and my assistant Dylan does that, but this just lets you know a little bit of the mechanics. This is what it originally looks like. This is a handwritten 7-bullet point, and I put 7 bullet points for every call, and then I just systematically go down the bullet points as I feel them or as I receive them. A lot of production in the GMS home today, as is every day, but a lot going on. So if you've ever encountered those overwhelmed feelings, I was feeling some of them a few moments ago. As I said to Dylan, I said I couldn't possibly have attracted more at once in 5 minutes. So breathe and release. So I practice what I teach and practice what I live. That is the skill of letting go. Today's Facebook Live, I'm going to cover right down the middle of it, this point right here. Here's the 7 bullet points if you want to follow them. Connecting with purpose. Now, there is a purpose in that statement, purpose. What many people don't grasp and don't understand when it comes to sales, branding, marketing, and then creating a culture is that there requires clarity in the objective of the outcome. And so purpose statements, purpose content, being purposeful, being on purpose, watch your purpose. The purpose of my call is, in selling, I teach my clients how to state their purpose. So when you're calling someone, reaching out to someone, many people have this anxiety about, I don't want them to think. I don't want my friends to think. I don't want them to feel. I'm not sure if. I don't want people to think I'm a salesperson. This is the narrative, the story that goes on that keeps you in an overwhelmed, anxious, doubtful state. Now, when you're clear of your purpose and you're very skilled at what you do and you're very deliberate, systematic, methodical, and you have a routine to your business, then that becomes autosuggestion. So when I call someone, contact someone, reach out to someone, the reason I'm calling you, the reason I'm reaching out to you, the purpose of my call. So that means I'm stating my purpose. And when you're able to state your purpose, now you're clear. Clarity gets misjudged by people who don't understand selling as being direct. I've had people say, you're direct. I said, I'm clear. There's a huge difference of being direct. Underneath directness is anger. Underneath directness is control. Clarity is consciousness. Clarity means I know why I'm calling someone. I know I'm reaching out to someone. I know the content that I'm writing and the purpose I'm seeking to create by writing the content. I understand my own narrative. I'm my own narrator. I'm directing my content and my words for a specific outcome in the science of attraction, looking for a bounce back effect. Cast out, come back. So cast out, come back. It's fishing. It's like this. It's the line in the water. It's reeling it in, waiting for the hook and then sinking like this. It's called setting the sail. As you become skilled at setting the sail, S-E-T-T-I-N-G, S-A-L-E, Jim Rohn used to do the parody when I'd see him speak. It's not the sail. It's the set of the sale. Now that's an S-A-I-L, but this is the S-A-L-E. Now he knew what he was saying when he was saying that. It's not the sale, it's the set of the sale. It means those of you who have sailed, it's how you pull in, how you pull in the sail, how you catch the wind. That determines the outcome. Well, the same situation happens in selling. As you become purposeful and understand that you're attempting to create a connection. Now, when I'm prospecting and I encounter a lead, I can tell in seconds whether there's a connection or not. I usually get a very good sense of feel whether this person's going to buy from me, whether this person's going to connect with me, whether there's going to be a relationship that we start in this conversation by the emanations that comes off their body, by the way that they pause and the way they speak, the gaps and delays in their communication style, the ums, the ahs, the okays, the wells, the stories they tell, or the clarity they have. And I'm very skilled at understanding that because of the repetition and experience over and over. And this is what's missing from a lot of people's business. They don't have the repetition and experience. They don't have the game time content. They haven't been doing it long enough to really understand it. Because if you resist what you're attempting to learn and avoid the action of it but continue to gain knowledge, all you're doing is going to be an intelligent avoider. And unfortunately, that's what many people are. They become very intelligent at the theory of selling, but they're not skilled at the application of it. It's the same in letting go. I've had clients who read the book Letting Go, and they read the book Letting Go, and they tell me they read the book Letting Go, or they go to a 12-step meeting. They tell me they went to a 12-step meeting, and they tell me they did the steps, and they tell me who they've gone to Tony Robbins, they've walked on fire, and they've done this and they've done that, but they're still a practicing addict in their emotional state, even though they've addressed the physical state of it, and they're not drinking, they're not using, they're not debting, they're doing certain situations that are enhancing their life, but they're not really in that next level of recovery. And that next level of recovery is letting go and moving into the action of it. Now, what I did in my early recovery is I went to the meetings. I went to the meetings every single day, and I did what I felt was going to be best for my recovery. I followed people who were much better at it than me. I let go of my ego early and admitted I'm a novice, and this is the one place I'm going to shut the you know what up and listen. So I did. I started to listen. I started to be attentive, and it said keep coming back, and I kept coming back, and I went to meeting over meeting, and I did the same thing in my business. Now, I used to sell by the seat of my pants. And I used to say dumb shit like I could sell ice to an Eskimo, and I have the gift of gab, and I used a lot of things that never really enhance my selling career. Now, the reality of it was I had excellent people skills, and sales was a vocation that I was good at. I was not naturally good at it because there's no such thing as a natural born salesperson. It's just like there's no such thing as a natural born hitter in baseball. There are certain men and women who have an affinity with a wooden bat or a metal bat, and they can hit a smaller object that's traveling at anywhere from 70 to 100 miles an hour. There are certain people who are good at that. Well, you don't have to have that specific skill. But here's a few things you require to be a great connector. You require a sentence structure conducive to finish a sentence. I said to someone recently, you're going to have challenges selling the way you communicate. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, you have too many gaps and delays. You're too slow in the way you talk. And if you want to master this vocation, there's a certain speed that you have to pick up. It's not a vocation that you can think and process and analyze in while you're having a communication. Now, you can do that as a programmer, as an engineer, and there's certain vocations that will fit your communication style. But sales, my friend, is not one of them. Because sales requires a certain level of motor skills. It does not require an IQ, it requires EQ, it requires emotional intelligence. It means you have to have the reflexes to take a word out of that last sentence, put it in your next sentence, and ask a question on the back end of it so that you can continue to move the conversation along. Connecting is interviewing skills. Connecting is asking skills. Connecting is being present, being here, being now. Connecting is being able to listen, hear what's meant, not said. Connecting cannot be done by processing, thinking, analyzing, validating, and justifying. Connecting is being able to hear what's meant and really listen to the person. And connecting doesn't mean you're attached. Connecting is a level of detachment while being in the conversation. So you can adapt and adjust and tell whether to move forward, move away, move sideways, move laterally, move horizontally. Whatever it is you move, you learn to move. And you do that by asking connecting questions. There's three kinds of questions you can ask people questions. Small talk questions. How are you today? Rapport building questions. Where are you from originally? And then there's the fact finding. Where did you go to college? So there's different ways that you ask a question, and you can interject these questions where they're not completely black and white, where you're able to have that relaxed conversation where there's a level of flow. If you've ever been on an airplane and you sit down and you have this connection with someone and you speak through the whole conversation and all of a sudden the plane's landing and you feel like you've made a friend, well, that would be organic connecting. That's how it should be if that is available, if that is possible. I fly first class, and used to anyway. Have not flown the last couple months, but I've flown 1.9 million miles. I'm like 10,000 miles short of being a 2 million mile flyer. So I've sat next to someone many, many times over the last 20 plus years. I seldom ever communicate next to someone I'm talking to. That's not my purpose. I'm not there to create a prospect. I'm not there to be friendly with the next person. I'm not unfriendly, but that's not why I'm there. I'm there to relax on the plane. I'll read a book and I will rest. I do a lot of meditating on a plane, but there are other people you can create great connections on a plane. I've created a few, but that's not my purpose. My purpose is to be able to create connections like anywhere I go, and if that's what I'm looking for. And I'm good at that. My best place to create a connection is right here at my desk with AIC. I can also do it live in an audience. And I have these skills that I have taught myself over a 40 plus year career. You can do it too. You can master or become very proficient and skilled at these skills in a relatively short period of time, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. But it requires the repetition and experience over and over. So in looking at the points on connecting, here are some of the points. Connect with yourself. That means I am me, I am free. If you're not comfortable with yourself, it's going to be challenging to be comfortable with anyone else because you're telegraphing that you're not good enough. Now you're in a mixed message. So step one is being able to just let go. Give yourself grace. Give yourself permission. Give yourself a little bit of forgiveness about past mistakes. Set in the middle of it all. As you move in to any kind of connection, don't make it about you. Don't start telling yourself stories about, I hope they don't find, I'm ashamed of, they'll probably think, I don't want them to think, I don't want them to feel, they'll probably think I'm trying to. You have to silence your inner critic. So the best way to know thyself is to be thyself by being good enough one day at a time. Now, even though that may sound challenging or however it sounds, it is what it is. It means you let go. You let go of the past regret, which is back there. You let go of future worry, what is up there, and you focus more on being right here. You forgive yourself for whatever's happened back there, and you let go of any regret. You stop worrying about what's going on out there. You let go of anxiety, fear, and doubt, and you be here, right now. That place is called consciousness. It's also called the present. It's also called now. And you become a lot less critical. You can be honest with yourself without being critical. You can admit you made a mistake without completely going off the rails on it. You can be honest with yourself about situations you've done without being critical. You can be honest about avoiding the situation yesterday and committing to doing a better effort today without being critical. That begins the let go process. And that, because it objectively, in which the outcome is you want to be able to emanate feelings of warmth, love, compassion, empathy, joy, bliss, enlightenment as you're communicating with someone. But your objective is not to be like this in fight or flight, overwhelmed, afraid about being judged, making a mistake, getting in trouble, saying the wrong thing, any multitude of situations that keep you in an overwhelmed body. As you begin to separate your feelings from the events that shape them, that's what letting go is. Separating feelings from the events. I was reading Transcending Levels of Consciousness this morning, the chapter specifically on enlightenment, which is enlightenment. When you're transmuting feelings into enlightenment, it's one of the highest levels of energy that you are emanating from. And there is absolutely no attachment in any type of enlightenment. You're in such a state of being that you're being. There's no do in any doing because you're in a complete state of being. Now, I'm able to prospect, not quite at that level, but I know I prospect in the 500s frequently because it has that kind of flow to it. I can easily and effortlessly let people go. I can diplomatically let them go. None of it's personal. Nobody's ghosting me. No one's rejecting me. No one's abandoning me. When someone's not buying, they're not buying. I don't take it to any level other than it is. And I'm not critical of my presentation or my delivery. Occasionally I'll make mistakes and say situations I can forgive myself. And you can do all this too by simple repetition and experience and letting go of the stories and narrative about the future that doesn't happen. It requires you to be right here, right now, in any form of connection. Now, this would show up in mating, dating, attracting a vendor, a contractor, because when you put yourself in it, I am not good enough. I am worried about what they. I am overwhelmed about the possibility. I'm not sure if they're better than me. What am I going to do if they? So when you get into this in this type of communication, you've quit before you started because you're going to be so overwhelmed. You're emotionally relapsing. You'll follow through on that with some other type of avoidance techniques or some cardio cocktail to fulfill your feelings of low self-esteem. As you begin to separate your feelings from those facts, now you can be in the present. When you're communicating with someone, they don't know anything about you unless you telegraph it or tell them. They're going to feel what they feel as long as you're present. But when you start to overwhelm yourself about how you're going to blow it, how you're going to mess this up, how you're going to screw it up, well, now you're in a mixed message, and now you're in fight or flight, and now you're going to have gaps and delays in your communication style. You're going to come across unprofessional, overwhelmed, insecure in some of these situations. Then you fulfill your feelings of being disappointed. That's why it's imperative that you are able to connect with yourself. Then in connecting with others, there's a genuine sincerity you have about the love and joy of connecting. But if you tell yourself, I'm not good at this, this is very difficult, this is very hard, and once again, you're back in the same narrative. As you begin to silence that inner critic and be able to learn the questions to ask people, it's not questions that you have to write down. It's not scripted, although I do have a script book. You can go to my website, and under the book section, I have a script book for $20 that you can buy. I wrote it many years ago. I wrote it for my team many years ago, and then used it for many, many years, and then had one of my assistants put it into an ebook. You can buy it, but it's the same sentences I've used over and over. I've been using the same set of questions since the late 1980s when I was selling Yellow Pages. It's the same situation when I would knock on a customer's door. Hi, my name is Jeffery Combs. I'm from Southwestern Bell Yellow Pages. I'm here canvassing the area, and I just stopped by your shop or store to see if I could be possible for me to speak to the owner or the person who handles the media buying for the business. Would that be possible? Get out. All right, thanks. I mean, if someone says, get out, we're not interested, I will go, thanks, have a great afternoon. That was very clear. They're not interested in buying. Now, they didn't personalize that. I'm not getting kicked out. I mean, it usually never really went like that, but there were people go, we're not interested. Now, I'm not going to sit there and go, why aren't you interested? And I'm not going to get that's room for too much conflict. I'll just get out. But if there's any warmth, I'll move forward in it, and that's what you learn to do. I have cold called thousands, and I do mean thousands of 10-cent leads. I used to buy 500 leads for $50. I mean, that's what they were, 10-cent leads, and those were considered good leads in 1995 and 1996 because there weren't any leads back then. And today's leads are $3, $3.50, and they're the same as a 10-cent lead. And a skilled prospector can close a 10-cent lead, a $10 lead, a $100 lead, a $1,000 lead. A skilled closer can sell an airplane, defense industry situations, cars, planes, trains, automobiles, boats, wellness, masks, gloves, any multitude situation. A closer can sell product, service, goods, benefits, and features because a closer is very good at communicating with the person who is buying. That's the key skill that you understand. Speaking to a qualified buyer, that comes from asking the questions in the sequence. And if possible, you form a connection by relaxed relatability. But if you're not relaxed and you're uptight and tense, or if you're speaking to someone who's uptight and tense, and you're tense, it's going to make it very challenging. I recently encountered someone who was hostile, confrontational, wanted to put me on the spot. I very diplomatically let him know that wasn't going to happen. The gentleman said to me, if I hire you to be my coach, I'll be the most difficult client you've ever had. And I said, that won't happen. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, Why would I even remotely consider taking you on as a client? I'm not looking for a difficult client. I'm looking for an easy client. So what I'm going to do is let you go. Adios. See you, chief. Now, it didn't go quite like that at the end, but I did diplomatically let him go. He was shocked, like I knew he would be, because this is all predictable. He was hostile, passive aggressive, narcissistic, and wanted to be a terrorist. And that's not the kind of ideal client. There are a few people like that, but even then he wasn't rejecting me, he was challenging me. And I understood that, and I've encountered that personality a few times in my career, and I diplomatically let him go. And that was it. So long. I didn't go into an outer body experience and required double doers after the conversation. Double doers, that's a joke. So number 3, anxiety, rejection, and abandonment. I mean, these are situations that you let go of quickly, understanding that the prospect or the person you're communicating with is not going to reject you. If they say, you know what, you're a really nice guy, but you're just not for me. If the woman says that to me, I'm going to go, cool. If he says, there's more fish in the sea. When you personalize it, hold on to it, then you've made it about you. When you let go of it, it's not about them, it's not about anyone, it's just not the right situation. You can move on easily and effortlessly. The more you understand the cause that creates the effect of why you do what you do, that's what letting go is, the separation of feelings from those events back there. So if you were abandoned or rejected as a child and you continue to hold on to some of these feelings, or if you became codependent and had to be the rock star of the family, the solid rock of the family, or you had to take care of it and you're a caretaker, people pleaser, this can hinder your ability to connect with people because you're already wondering, what can I do for them? What should I do for them? What can I do for them? What can I do for you? What can I do for you? How can I help you? How can I serve you? Well, you can be overwhelming. The objective is to be in a very relaxed conversation, to attract conversations that are meaningful. There's purpose. There's a qualification process. You feel comfortable and good about the person you're communicating with. This is in business, life. This applies in soulmates, teammates, friends, vendors, contractors, any multitude of situations, employees you're hiring. You're attracting to your reality people and situations to fulfill cause, meaning, and purpose. You're looking for your best clients. So in my vendors and my contractors that I hire to do construction processes for me, I've been doing business with Baker Roofing, my roofer. I have a bill right over there for $1,100 for my building. They've been my roofer for 21 years. They've been through 2 ownerships and 2 general managers. The custom angle iron that's on my house, that's that company, or 2 brothers. I've been their client for 21 years. My real estate agent, I've been his client for 21 years. My attorney, I've been his client since 2002. That's one of my attorneys. He then referred me to 3 other attorneys that I use. He also referred me to 2 of my insurance agents. My farmer's agent, I've been his client for 30 years. It means I do repeat business with people I connect with. And then it creates a trust. It creates a camaraderie. And it's invariably happened that Jason, my attorney, has picked up my tab out at dinner. My insurance agents picked up my tab at dinner. My accountants picked up my tab at dinner. I'm not expecting this. This always happens to me. And the people that I bought this is a vintage Rolex, and the people that own that shop, actually they own one of the largest swap meets and one of the largest pawn shops in California. I mean, they have, oh my God, the content they have there. On 3 separate occasions, Scott and Annette picked up my check. I mean, the reason that happens to me is because they value me as a customer, because I'm that good of a customer. So when you're your vendor's best client, then you'll attract other people who become your best client. That's what the connection is for, so you can create relationships. So when you have a relaxed relatability, you have the probability of attracting to reality people and situations that will fulfill your cause, meaning, and purpose. Many of you have seen Robert Grijalva, my singer and guitar player. Robert's been singing for me since 2005. My drummer, Dennis Snyder, he's been playing for me since 2016. Dennis put a Facebook video up in Sobriety Consciousness today, and I called him right afterwards and said, oh my God, that was your video compelled me so much to do one right behind you. I mean, that's the connection. The connection is on, baby. Bring on the connection. When you are seeking connection, when you are open to it, you attract your reality of people and situations to fulfill those feelings. When you're anxious about it, when you're overwhelmed about it, Now you're behind the connection, afraid you're going to make a mistake, screw it up, get in trouble, say the wrong thing, in any other multitude of situations that will keep you in an unrelaxed, overwhelmed body. So letting go of anxiety, I've covered this. I'll be covering it tonight at 9 o'clock. I'll cover it tomorrow at 9 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. And letting go is the ability. It's your ability, my ability to separate my feelings from the events. And you start to understand how the events have created a neurochemical response that keeps you overwhelmed. As you're not the mind-body connection to those events, now there's a separation. In that separation, you now have the opportunity, the probability, the possibility, the definitive purpose to be able to be you right here, right now. And that allows you to be more relatable. Now you're emanating charisma, charm. Your character starts to shine through. People feel you. Oh my God, you're on fire, Chief. I feel you. Hi, Michelle. How are you this afternoon? I see Aaron. I see Bruce. Bruce Kirby, good to see you. Amy Gant. Where do you live now, Amy? Dr. Johanna. Lori in Florida, good to see you this afternoon. Thank you, everyone, for sending me videos of what's going on in the world behind the veil today. I love receiving those. I will also send some back that are reciprocal. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank you for being on today's Facebook Live. I will be here later this evening at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, May 5th. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Look forward to connecting with you, and I will see you tonight at midnight, and I'll be back here next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
More Heart Than Talent Radio.